That seemingly didn't feel like a problem 20 years ago. And now we're seeing the conversation around population control. We're seeing vaccines and the conversations around fertility, specifically hepatitis B and autism and all those things. We're seeing microplastics. We're seeing potential cloud seeding and the conversation around various toothpastes and the ingredient profile in those things, creating aluminum coming into the brain. Some of this is speculation, some of this has data. It's very easy to get lost in the sauce and feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything right. I'm just simply going to keep doing what I'm doing and hope that it works. But then there's some stuff that you have to pay attention to. How much of it is hearsay? How much of it is stuff that we should pay attention to? Because the program that works is the one that you do, like you said. But if somebody seemingly feels like they're doing every little thing right and it's still not working out and they start to lose hope, what comes next?
Yeah, great question. And like you said, I mean, you can go down an absolute rabbit hole if you're so worried about any little thing potentially being harmful, and now you can't use toothpaste, and now you can't do XYZ, and it can become very overwhelming. And I think, again, you have the basics that we talked about, the stress, the sleep, the eating well. If you're doing all of those things, when we think about environmental exposures, again, I say you could go down this rabbit hole. Depends on how far you want to go with how much do you want to overhaul your entire life and every product that you have in your home and all of that and change everything. But I usually say the big ones that if someone is focused on their fertility that I would worry about is household cleaning products. So what sorts of things are you using in the kitchen? Your laundry detergent, what are you putting on your clothes that are then attached to your body and your skin all day long? And then especially for women, your cosmetics, everything you're putting on your face and on your skin on a daily basis that is being so absorbed into your body. And again, it can feel very overwhelming to feel like you need to toss everything you have and go buy everything brand new. But those are the places that I'd focus. And I really like looking at the EWG verification website. I'm not sure if you've used that before, but EWG, Environmental Working Group, I think, EWG, there's a website that you can use, especially for cosmetic products, makeups, sunscreens. There's an app that does that. I'm not sure if that's EWG, but this is just a website. But there are apps like that as well. But if people are overwhelmed with what the choices are, I say check that because they will rate all cosmetic products, sunscreens, makeups, everything on a hazard score of least harmful to most harmful, and it'll list which ingredients are potentially problematic and why they might be problematic. And their kind of top tier is anything that is EWG verified, and it will have a little label of, okay, this is a clean product. This doesn't have no known toxic chemicals or things like that would be harmful to. And they do break it down based on like carcinogenic compounds versus reproductive concern. And so I'll use that for just, picking your most used items for your makeup. Is it your mascara and your foundation? What are the things that you put on you the most? And trying to visit a site like that and choose an alternative that is going to be less likely to be harmful. So it's making those key changes from your environment, from a I guess a toxin perspective, and then of course the bigger piece is addressing. Well, do you have any other major concerns or exposures? Do you work around any sort of chemical or near aircraft or anything like that you need to be concerned about? Your PPE use and how you're protecting yourself if you're working on a daily basis in those sorts of environments.
How important are fragrances,
Mm,
colognes,
yeah, that's a
candles,
big one.
scents? I mean, I love smells, especially around Christmas time. We just got our Christmas tree the other day, but as you're walking through the store, you're like, oh, that candle looks cool. That one smells like pumpkin. That one's pumpkin pie. That one's like apple crisp.
Yep.
And those things seemingly are not the best for reproductive health.
Yeah, 100%. So yes, with fragrances in particular, it's the phthalates that you want to be mindful of for reproductive health, especially colognes for men. Trying to choose something that is phthalate free. And same for perfumes for women. So that's another area. I mean, if you're somebody who wears perfume to a special occasion once every few months, that's not too much of a concern. But if you're using something regularly, then you're going to want to swap that for something that is phthalate free.
What have you found as far as like optimal for odor control? Because I've seen a lot of people that try the healthier deodorants, the aluminum free. Sometimes it's fluoride free toothpaste. They're using different things to try to manage just general body odors and oil and things that get excreted from just being a human. But sometimes people have a certain odor to them, and sometimes that's nutrition related, sometimes it's hormone related. But inevitably, from what I've seen and observed and personally used, some of these optimal ingredient products don't work, and they
Yeah.
seemingly leave you stinky, and then obviously getting ostracized from the tribe or from the group, and that obviously isn't the goal either.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a challenging one. And that is a fine line, sometimes of trial and error. Because you want to balance choosing the things that are cleanest or less likely to harm you, but you also need to live in society and you don't want to go around absolutely stinking all the time. And so, I have things that I'll personally use, but I'll admit I am at a baseline not a very smelly person. So I don't have a hard time with them. But for example, I've tried to get my husband on board with some of these products and he's like, hey, I'm just a stinky human and I've tried these things and they don't work. And I haven't got him to buy in on the healthier deodorant option. So,
I'm in alignment with him. I love my Dove for Men.
yeah.
I,
So,
I know it's not helping my health, but it definitely is a smell that I personally like and something that gets me through the day to day. So it's something I'm just, like you said, the 80/20. It's something I'm not willing to sacrifice.
mhm.
But then I hear some of the other ones and I'm like, okay, like we could cut that out or we can add that in.
100%. And you'll never get somebody to buy into every single recommendation that you have. There's exceptions to that. They're the super highly motivated. They've been struggling to conceive for a long time and they're ready to do anything and everything. But for the most part, you're trying to, it's just about educating. Okay, here are all of the things that you're probably most commonly exposed to or using that I'd recommend trying to swap to improve potentially your reproductive health. And maybe of that list of 10 things, they'll be willing to give 6 of them a try, 7 of them a try. And there's a couple things that they're like, hey, this is my one product. I've tried other things. It doesn't work. And that's okay. It's where can you make improvement? Again, it's not about perfectionism, especially if that's going to cause stress in other areas. And so this is fine balance between how do you start to improve things, improve your health? How do you focus on your fertility without obsessing over it to the point where it's actually creating so much stress in your life that you are working against yourself? And that's a common or a fine line that I'm often balancing with clients who are really focused on their fertility.